Where do you think Coach Prime will be in 5 years? Ursula D via The Athletic.
With Deion, it's a really fascinating conversation because I think he wouldn't even know the answer to that question. Because I think he has to figure out, what do I want? And that is a complicated question. I spent like 9 months in the Deion world, right? And I think his motivation right now, I think a lot of it is, I want to coach my kids and I want to give them opportunities at big time places. And right now, having Shiloh and Shador and him at a Power 5, wrecking shop and changing the entire game in college football and establishing this cultural relevance, becoming Black America's favorite college football team. Like this is like what he would have dreamed of. Like it's unbelievable what they're experiencing right now. So, you're obviously going to be at Colorado for a little bit. The short answer to this question that I would feel confident is not at Colorado. But the real answer is very complicated because when Shiloh runs out of eligibility and Shador runs out of eligibility or leaves the NFL or whatever, he's got to figure out, what do I want to be? If a big, big place calls you, do you want to be that guy? Do you want to go dip your toe into the SEC and fight in that little viper pit and try to win? I think he definitely wanted the Florida State job, and that's still, I think, his holy grail in a lot of ways. But a bigger job, I don't know that he'd want to do that. And there's part of it that, his health will be a part of it. But I do believe him when he has spit. Deion, he doesn't straight up lie very often. And he's been very public about, I don't want to coach in the NFL. So I don't think the NFL, it would be that much of a scenario. Maybe if if Shador went to the right team and that team really wanted him, I could see him talking himself into it, maybe in that sense. But I really don't think the NFL and his way of operating, I don't know that that's something he'd want to do. But I think if a big place called him in 2 or 3 years, he'd have to consider it, but it'd have to be the right spot and a place that's going to let him be him. And there's not a lot of those places out there.
It almost feels like to me that Colorado is the perfect place for him because Colorado just lets him do what he's going to do.
That's like, a huge part of it. The autonomy is like the autonomy is the thing. Like he did a lot of things that caught a lot of criticism all off season. And his AD, Rick George, and his president, Phil DiStefano, basically said, hey, we're letting him do what he's going to do. He had a plan. He was very upfront with them about what he was going to do, and he's doing what he's doing. And there are a lot of schools where the AD and the president would not let that happen. And he wanted to go to a place where he had autonomy. They were going to let him do whatever he wanted to do because they were desperate. They were. And they're reaping insane benefits. The Rock was at their game. Lil Wayne led their team out onto the sideline. Freaking Kawhi Leonard is on the sideline. Like, this stuff doesn't really
Master
happen.
P.
Yeah, Master P. Like, it's.
Have you heard of
insane.
Master P, Grace?
Yes.
All right, Grace.
I'm testing my theory of if you're 30 or under, you are like a different generation than if you're 35.
Yeah.
Like,
How old are you?
that hard cut. I'm 35.
Oh, I thought you were younger than that.
She thought you were 43.
No, I'm old. No,
Deion is not going to go somewhere that is not going to give him the autonomy to do things his way and be himself. And there are not a lot of places like that.
Unless Colorado is the proof of concept, the future athletic director who hires him that says, we're not going to meddle with him. He knows
they got to be desperate, though, Ari. They have to be desperate.
That's what I'm curious about. Is like,
think.
What is like, and maybe this is not an answerable question, but like, what is the other school that allows this? Like, who else other than Colorado is that desperate and that willing to let him do his thing?
I don't know if there's a school that's better than Colorado.
Like, does it exist?
Like, I mean, you'd probably be like Illinois, Purdue, or teams like that.
And is it a better job than Colorado?
That's what I'm saying. Like, is it going to be like a tradition? Like, would Auburn have ever been desperate enough to allow it to happen?
Auburn was never going to do the Deion thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That'd be hilarious, but no.
What blue blood program could ever be desperate enough to hire Deion and deal with the actions?
I mean, I think it would depend on where your program is. There's some people in the
Arkansas.
Chat
Catherine keeps saying Arkansas.
As someone who lived in Arkansas, I can tell you, no. Arkansas is not doing that.
Like because he's I mean, I'm not saying Colorado is a destination job by any stretch of the imagination, but he's changed the way we look at this job now. So, like, what is the upgrade in college football that also allows him to?
My whole thing too with Deion is that if he ever got to go to a place, and I thought this before he got to Colorado, if he ever got to go to a place that let him do it his way and let him be himself, and he experienced success there, then what would you be leaving for anyway? Like, would you be leaving for more money?
Money and not money for himself, but money to run his program and resources. Colorado does not have, a place that you can hire 30 support staffers and do all the things that a lot of these places in the SEC are doing. They are pretty limited in what they can do. I don't know what their recruiting budget looks like, but I can say it's probably safely not what a lot of these top schools in the SEC are rolling with. So all of those things, and you do have a ceiling at Colorado that has nothing to do with your access to talent or your conference affiliation or whatever. College football is one of the few sports where an influx of cash and going to or resulting in wins is like a 1-to-1 A to B, especially in the NIL era proposition. They don't have this collective with, $10 million on hand. And if Deion was at somewhere that did, good luck. Man.
We also too we've spoken a lot about how like Shedeur and Travis Hunter are proof of concept for the players. But you know what I'm on high alert for too? Like if Sean Lewis is a Big Ten coach next year, there's going to be some proof of concept of go play for Deion. Everyone's watching. It's a really good place to get a better job, which then would attract high-level assistants, which then makes your program better. And then you're more.
I think it already has attracted. He's got a good balance of guys that he's been.
But I'm saying if you're able to lose Sean Lewis, because I think Sean Lewis will probably go get another job somewhere.
I'll be shocked if Sean Lewis is there next year and he's not a head coach.
Yeah, like he should be a head coach somewhere next year. And like
he was a head coach somewhere last year.
Yeah. But a head coach at the Power 5 level now is what we're saying. Like it was a brilliant move for him to leave Kent State willingly, go be the offensive coordinator and do it this way, knowing that everybody would be watching. Drum up the perfect play calls on a 98-yard touchdown run as time expired last year, become the sexy candidate, and then go run a Big Ten West team that wants to play like that. It's like he probably is a faster track to becoming a Power 5 head coach now than if he never would have left being a head coach somewhere else. So,
well, that's the genius of what he did, because I think our colleague Bruce Sullivan wrote about it, and I'd kind of heard some rumors about it, but I think he was frustrated getting passed up for the Cincinnati job, and I think he thought, which I don't know that I would have thought the same thing, because Alabama and Georgia and these places are always kind of the shortcut, but the idea that I'm going to leave being a head coach and go work for Deion at Colorado, where they just went 1-11, and we're going to flip this roster, and that's going to be a faster road to becoming a big-time head coach and getting out of Kent State than it would be to just stick it out at Kent State. That's pretty wild. But I think some of these G5 coaches, too, recognize in the portal era that sustaining success at any G5 program is harder than ever, because Penn State's going to come get Dante Cephas, right? And all these guys are constantly fielding calls. If you have a 1,500-yard season at a G5, you're going to get 10 calls that offseason, whether you're in the portal or not.